what people don't understand is the majority of guys at the gym are on some kind of performance enhancing drugs, and you just can't even tell.
Yeah.
Right. Because they're just not putting the work in, or they don't have the genetics. So what I wanted to ask you is just very basic questions for like my view. Your viewers are more sophisticated, but my viewers are usually younger guys or so on and so forth. Can you explain exactly what a steroid is, and is it that harmful for you in the long run?
You know, steroids are just derivatives of testosterone that bind to the androgen receptor. And when they, what they try to do is take testosterone and make it less androgenic, which is the masculinizing effects of it. Most of the side effects come from the aggression too. And they try to strip away some of that androgenic components and create them and have a more purely anabolic compound. The problem is when you strip away the androgen component, you also strip away some of the anabolic or muscle building component. Mm-hmm. So while DECA is, less androgenic than testosterone, it's also less anabolic. Mm-hmm. Anavar is purely anabolic, but they've stripped away so much of the androgen, they've also stripped away a ton of the anabolic. That's why it's really not very strong. That's why when guys ask me, I'm taking Anavar, I'm like, why? It's so weak.
I do the same. That's a God's honest truth. Anytime anybody tells me in the gym or whatnot that I use Anavar, I automatically think I hate, it's the guy. I automatically think you don't take anything because it's a waste.
It's not a waste, but the problem is that it's so weak.
Girls use it.
It's girls. It's very weak, and for the price that they charge for it, because it's an expensive drug.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. You don't get any bang for your buck on it. So, that's basically steroids. I mean, they bind to the androgen receptor. Now, the toxicity aspect of steroids comes from how they're broken down. Mm-hmm. The faster acting the compound, okay, that meaning that the shorter half-life, the quicker the liver has to break it down. If the liver has, 3 weeks to break down a shot you took, okay, because it's slow acting, it's not really going to be toxic for your body. Whereas if your liver has to break it down in 12 hours because it only lasts, that's the half-life of, say, Anadrol or Dianabol, now it's putting more strain on the liver. Mm-hmm. How much strain is it putting on the liver compared to you drinking an alcoholic drink? Probably not much different. Right. The problem occurs when people start to abuse the stuff, because now they're putting so much into their body that their body is in constant detox. The liver is just never getting a rest.
I see.
So I always tell people, if you're going to stay on for a longer cycle, longer duration cycles, just don't use orals. There's so many injectable anabolics that are probably more effective. You don't even need to use the orals, and try to stay away from really, really fast acting compounds on a regular basis. Nothing wrong with using a little Winstrol before, your show, or
fast acting compounds would be things like
trenbolone acetate, anything that has a quick half-life. You don't want to be on those for long periods of time because that puts a little more stress on the body to break them down. I've seen a lot of people come and go in this sport. Very few people have ever caused enough damage to their body from taking anabolics alone. And who knows if we could even really directly link it, that I can't even say they're that toxic. Okay. Mm. The problems occur when you're taking a lot of gear, a lot of GH, your blood pressure goes high. Now, when your blood pressure elevates, they call blood pressure the silent killer, because what it does is it destroys your kidneys over a prolonged period of time. So, while steroids are not directly, kidney toxic, they're indirectly kidney toxic because they raise blood pressure, because they make you retain fluid. And GH is indirectly, a problem, not because there's no toxic effects of GH. The problem is that it can make you insulin resistant, and it could burn your pancreas out. So you can cause blood sugar issues down the road. So are the drugs themselves really toxic? No, because they're all pretty long act. It's not like you take a hit of ecstasy or you're doing you're snorting a line of crystal meth. It doesn't hit you like that. Steroids are they're hormones. They take a long time to act on the body. The problem occurs long-term usage if you're using the wrong compounds. And I think or the wrong dosages. So that's something that can be easily controlled. So if you want, and that's why I always have educated people. If you want to use steroids, you can use them, but use them wisely. Don't use them stupidly, and don't try to take the shortcut by overdoing it initially, because bodybuilding is not a 1 or 2 year sport. It's something you're going to do for 10, 15 years.
Right.
So you got to have a pace, so to speak. And, everyone wants instant gratification, and they think if they take more, they're going to get better results quicker. Mm-hmm. And that's just not the case. Your body can only build so much muscle so quickly,